One of the world's largest commodities trading groups, Trafigura, is championing change to shipping's regulatory framework. Its call for a carbon levy is just one part of a wider commitment to greening shipping.
In the quest to incorporate zero carbon solutions sooner rather than later, and to make the global shipping industry carbon neutral by 2050, Trafigura, one of the world's largest commodity trading groups, has emerged as one of the strongest advocates for change. It collaborates across industries to develop new fuel alternatives and is leading the call for the urgent introduction of a levy on carbon-intensive maritime fuels. Trafigura was the first to call for a global IMO-led carbon levy on maritime fuels through a white paper published in 2020, which has since received substantial support.
Without regulation, forget about shipping decarbonisation. Simple as that. If we have a price on carbon, you will create a wave of investments both in the fuels and in the technologies, and whether that's the engine or the port infrastructure, and transition can happen. But without a price on carbon, no shipping decarbonisation.
A growing number of companies share the views of Trafigura, not just in shipping. A recent Standard Chartered survey found that 77% of business leaders support a global carbon levy. It's not just about the need to address the climate crisis the world faces. According to some industry experts, urgent action makes economic sense too.
Climate consequences will be dire. We already see that with the impact that climate change is having on the world today, and that will only get worse in the years to come. More importantly, for the shipping sector, we will see a drying up of financing available for companies that aren't taking this agenda as seriously as they need to be taking it.
The introduction of a mandatory carbon levy adds a new cost to shipping. Trafigura argues it's a cost worth paying, and one that should be borne by charters like themselves.
A levy, it will, in the beginning, I think it will cost more to ship around with carbon zero fuels. The cost is an issue. It can be neutralized, it can be paid for by different actors on the chain, perhaps by us, by charters or ship owners. The main matter here is, what do we do about reducing carbon emissions? We really need to do something about it now. The world is screaming for it, and we believe that what we are proposing is something that will help change the emissions from shipping in the very near future. For me, the most positive thing we're about is the support that we're receiving from all parties, within the industry and outside the industry. Everybody wants this to happen.
Dr. Tristan Smith is leading a study of the shipping industry's forecasted CO2 emissions to be used in the policy debate and to inform the strategy of shipping's various stakeholders.
A policy that can enable a fuel transition, which includes a carbon levy, is very important to provide the early investment that we need this decade to get the transition started. The sector needs progressive companies to make clear articulations of the types of policy that would be useful and most cost-effective for the transition. But it also needs voices that can encourage politicians to be brave in the decisions that they make.
Away from driving regulatory change, Trafigura is collaborating across industry sectors to bring new partners into shipping's search for alternative fuels. Through extensive research, Trafigura has come to the conclusion that transportation fuels of the future are hydrogen-based, such as green methanol and green ammonia. A dual-fuel engine that uses ammonia as a maritime fuel is currently in development with MAN Energy Solutions.
For us, it makes a lot of sense to be able to co-sponsor the technological development of the green ammonia engine. We have high hopes in this transportation fuel to become the future.
Trafigura will continue efforts to build momentum behind a carbon levy that it believes is so vital to accelerate shipping's decarbonisation. It can no longer be ignored.
We are developing the first ammonia-burning two-stroke engine. Being a dual-fuel engine means that you are able to operate on either ammonia, green ammonia, or a backup fuel such as heavy fuel oil or diesel oil. That gives you a flexibility of choice as a ship operator or a ship owner. So green ammonia is, you can say, is what we are actually aiming for carbon neutrality.
Since we launched our white paper for a global IMO-led carbon levy, We've seen a tremendous mindset change. It doesn't mean we are at the finish line, because we're definitely not, as politicians have not yet potentially realized that responsibility and authority sits with them on deciding on this very important topic. But we've seen people come on board. We've seen leading industry voices come and support a global carbon levy. And we also understand why. Because it is what it takes to be able to decarbonize shipping sooner rather than later.